3 buses have exploded in Bat Yam, just south of Tel Aviv, in a suspected terror attack. Israeli police say devices in 2 other buses failed to detonate, and security forces are now sweeping the area for suspects. Transport Minister Miri Regev has halted all public transport to allow urgent security checks. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered an intensive operation against terror hubs in the West Bank and heightened security across Israel's cities. No casualties have been reported, but footage shows at least 1 bus in flames. Authorities are urging the public to stay alert as investigations continue. For more on this discussion, we are joined by Joyita Basu, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, and we're also joined by Josh Barnes, correspondent and anchor. Josh, I wanted to come to you first on this. Could you give us some of the updates of things that are going on around these explosions, these buses that have explosions just south of Tel Aviv?
Situation is evolving. It's a developing situation. Based on what we know so far, there are 5 explosive devices that were planted in buses in Israel close to Tel Aviv. 3 of them exploded, 2 failed to do so. One of them, there was 5 kilograms of explosives and a 5-kilogram device that was discovered unexploded. Now, there are fears that potentially more bombs have been placed. Of course, as you've mentioned already in your summary there are investigations and searches ongoing. Public transport has also been stopped. I think the relief is that nobody was hurt. We know currently the situation in Israel and across the Middle East in general is very, very stringent. There's a massive amount of tensions ongoing. So all this does really is adds to that. It fans the flames. A ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel, of course, is hanging by a thread. Discussions globally about what to do are also at the thoughts of many people's minds within the region. So this is only just emphasizing that, and the security risk that face many Israelis living in their country is there, and the fear is there. That's what a terrorist attack is. It's there to invoke fear, and this has certainly done that.
Joyita Basu, what can you tell us about this suspected terrorist attack that has just occurred just south of Tel Aviv amid a fragile ceasefire with Hamas? Joshua, what can you tell us about these operations in the West Bank that Prime Minister Netanyahu has stated that he is expanding?
Yes, so off the back of these attacks, off the back of these terrorist attacks, Netanyahu has been staunch in his response. He said that specific incursions and investigations would take place. Special military guards and officers will be sent to the West Bank to investigate what is happening. Of course, this for him is worst case scenario. His show of strength, his show of force throughout the conflict with Hamas has been something that has been popular within Israel. But this strike within Israel's borders, a terrorist style attack, is going to be met with the strongest response. Now, whether he stops at just these investigations in the West Bank, we might see further strikes, there might be further action, but it remains to be seen how far he does go. We know he's already lost support of some of the further right-wing members of the Israeli government over the Hamas ceasefire deal. Many wanted Israel to continue in their military response and assault on Hamas operatives rather than this look towards a ceasefire deal. So Netanyahu, who faces pressure, he's not holding the government in Israel by many seats. His majority isn't massive. So his response needs to be strong on this, and I think that's what we will see.
Thank you very much. Joyita Basu, I just want to get some of your insights regarding these bus explosions that have just happened in Tel Aviv. This is obviously a developing situation, and there has been no confirmed group behind this attack yet, but what can you tell me about it?
Well, it seems 3 buses exploded and unexploded, explosives were found in 2 more buses. Thank God that, these were empty buses, because you see, these explosions had taken place when, there were people in the buses, it would have been a massacre. Just imagine 1 by 1, 3 buses or 5 buses blowing up, and even if at least each bus had 30-40 people, that would have resulted in the deaths of more than 200 people. So you see, I mean, I would say, and this is the thing about Israel, this is the kind of threat that they face every day. But what you see, what the change that we are witnessing in Israel is that, change in the complexion of exactly the kind of terror attacks that are now happening in Israel. Because all these days, such attacks, where the civilians are being targeted in these kinds of attacks, they had, to an extent, it was not that extensive in the last few years, although it was there earlier. That is because Hamas in particular was using long-range missiles, Hezbollah was using long-range missiles and all these things. Now what Israel has done is that Israel has taken care of these terrorist groups. Hamas is actually decimated. Hezbollah is also more or less decimated. So what these terror groups can do is that, I mean, it seems that, now they are again going back to these soft targets from inside Israel, these small terror attacks. I mean, it is not small when it comes to, ultimately when the scale comes to it, it is not going to be small, of course. Now, but the thing is that in the domestic terrorism kind of a situation they are trying to create, instead of these missiles coming and raining down on civilians, which was the practice in the last few years. But this is also, this is also a very dangerous phase. Primarily, it shows that the militant groups, the terrorist groups, may have lost their military arsenal, may not be in a position to wreak the kind of damage that they hope that they would be able to by, these constant attacks on Israel, on the military bases, and even otherwise.
Yes.
Mossad headquarters, Iran was also doing all that. From that, these kind of terrorist attacks, what happens is that the focus is on civilians. The casualties are likely to be very high. So as a result of which, I think this is a very dangerous, this war is entering a very dangerous phase now.